She pulls away not because she feels nothing, but because she feels everything. You've felt this, haven't you? The air crackles with an undeniable chemistry when you're together. Her eyes hold yours for a fraction of a second too long. Her laugh is a little too genuine, and the space between you feels electric, charged with unspoken potential. You walk away from that interaction feeling certain, grounded in the reality of that connection. Then, hours later, your phone screen lights up with her name, and the message is a single cold word. It's a wall of ice dropped into a warm room. The sudden shift from her vibrant presence to this digital distance is maddening, a psychological whiplash that makes you question your own sanity. You start to wonder if you imagined it all, if the connection was just a figment of your own desire. This is the paradox that drives men crazy, the space where her actions betray her energy. If this feeling of whiplash is familiar, if this paradox makes sense to you on some deep, intuitive level, then you're in the right place. This is a sign that you're perceptive enough to notice the storm, but you haven't yet learned how to be the calm in the center of it. To help you on this journey of understanding, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share your own experiences with these mixed signals in the comments below. We are a community of men dedicated to replacing confusion with clarity, and your story is a vital part of that. Your engagement helps us reach more men who are navigating this same frustrating dance, turning their reactive frustration into a quiet, centered strength. This is where the real work begins, and we're glad to have you with us on this path to deeper insight and genuine connection. The fundamental mistake you make is believing her performance of disinterest. You take that one-word text, that averted gaze, or that sudden change in her tone at face value. Your mind immediately translates it as rejection, a clear signal that her interest has vanished. And so you react. You either retreat out of fear of getting hurt, or you lean in harder, trying to fix the problem. You ask if everything is okay. You send another message to fill the silence. You try to win back the warmth you just felt. But in doing this, you are rewarding her shield, not the woman behind it. You are pouring your energy into her defense mechanism, validating her fear and teaching her that her coldness is what gets your attention. This places you in a powerless position, a contestant in a game where she sets the rules to keep you at a safe, manageable distance from her true feelings. The hidden truth is that her withdrawal has almost nothing to do with you and everything to do with the war raging inside of her. It is the primal conflict between her desire and her fear. Her desire pulls her towards you, craving the connection she felt just as intensely as you did. But her fear of being hurt, of being vulnerable, of giving her heart to a man who might not be strong enough to hold it, shoves you away. Her coldness is not an absence of feeling. It is an armor forged to protect an overwhelming amount of it. She is not testing your patience or your interest. She is subconsciously testing your strength. She is creating a storm to see if you are a man who will be rattled by the winds, or if you are the lighthouse, unmovable, calm, and a safe harbor she can finally navigate towards when she feels ready. You see her distance, and you translate it as a final verdict on your worth. This is the great lie you have been taught to believe. Your mind, desperate for a simple narrative, immediately concludes she has lost interest. It's a clean, painful cut, but it feels like an answer. You replay your last conversation, dissecting every word, every pause, searching for the fatal error you must have made. Her silence becomes a deafening roar in your head, a confirmation of your deepest insecurities. You stare at the phone screen, at the last cold message she sent, and you feel the ground beneath you give way. This feeling of falling, of losing control, is born from a single, flawed assumption that her emotional state is a direct and immediate reflection of your value. You have chained your sense of self to her validation, and now that she's withdrawn it, you feel completely powerless. This belief that her interest is a fragile, flickering flame is where you lose the game before it even begins. You remember the warmth, the laughter, the way her eyes held yours, and you treat it like a finite resource that has now been spent. Your logic tells you that attraction is linear. It only goes up or down. So when she pulls away, you assume the graph has plummeted. But female desire isn't a straight line. It's an ocean. It has tides that ebb and flow, currents of fear that pull her back from the shore, and storms of emotion that have nothing to do with you. The lie you believe is that you are the weather. You think your actions caused this storm, so you scramble to fix it. But you are not the storm. Your only job is to be the lighthouse, unbothered by the waves she is creating, to see if you are strong enough to stand firm. And so you react. This is the addiction, the compulsive need to close the gap she has just created. Your fingers hover over the keyboard, composing a message designed to solve the problem. Is everything okay? Did I say something wrong? You might try humor, a meme, anything to provoke a response and pull her out of that cold space. You are trying to force the warmth to return. You are chasing her. But what you fail to see is that in chasing her performance of disinterest, you are running away from the genuine connection you felt. You are abandoning your own calm center to enter her chaos, proving her subconscious fear correct, that you are just as reactive and emotionally unstable as every other man she has pushed away. Your chase is not a sign of your interest. It is a signal of your desperation, and her primal instincts can smell that from a mile away. Every time you reward her coldness with your panicked attention, you reinforce the very behavior you want to change. You are teaching her that when she puts up a wall, you will come running with all of your emotional energy to try and break it down. You become predictable, manageable. She knows that all she has to do to get a reaction, to feel a sense of control over the situation, is to retreat into her shell. You think you are showing her you care, but what she feels is pressure. You are not building attraction, you are applying force. The real connection, the desire she feels but is afraid of, gets buried deeper under this dynamic. She hides, you chase, and in that frantic dance, you lose. You lose her respect, you lose her trust, and most importantly, you lose your own self-possession by making her the center of your emotional world. The most dangerous part of this lie is what it says about you. You believe that if she seems uninterested, it is because you are fundamentally not interested. Her withdrawal becomes a mirror for your own perceived inadequacies. You start questioning everything, your looks, your conversation, your confidence. Her silence isn't just an absence of communication. It becomes a judgment. This is the core of the illusion. You have made her emotional self-regulation your personal responsibility. You've taken her internal battle of desire versus fear and mistaken it for a referendum on your manhood. But her fear of vulnerability, her past wounds, her need to test your strength, these things existed long before you met her. You did not create her storm. You are just the man who has to decide if he will be swept away by it or stand firm on the shore. This belief system places you in a state of permanent reaction. You are waiting for her cues, her validation, her permission to feel secure. You have surrendered your power. By accepting her performance of disinterest as the ultimate truth, you have agreed to play a game where she holds all the cards, a game designed to keep you at a safe distance from her heart. You are waiting for the temperature to change, hoping she will turn the warmth back on. But a man who possesses true, grounded confidence doesn't wait for the weather to change. He is the weather. He understands that her distance is a question, not a conclusion. He knows that the only answer that will ever satisfy her deep, unspoken desire is his own unwavering, unshakable, and calmly centered presence. The truth is, her withdrawal is a fortress built around a treasure. You've been trying to break down the walls, but you fail to see the cracks where the light gets through. These are her desire leaks, the involuntary, subconscious signals that betray the performance of indifference. It's the way her pupils dilate when you hold her gaze, a biological response she cannot fake. It's the quick, almost imperceptible smile that flashes across her lips before she forces a neutral expression. It's the way she unconsciously mirrors your posture, leaning in when she thinks you're not looking, only to pull back sharply when she catches herself. These are not invitations to chase. They are glimmers of the truth. They are the real woman behind the armor, whispering that the desire you felt was real. Your mistake is listening to her words while ignoring her biology. Her body is telling you the truth. Her fear won't allow her mouth to speak. This fortress has a gatekeeper, and its name is the test. But this isn't a conscious, manipulative game she's playing. It is a primal, instinctual screening process that runs on autopilot. She is subconsciously creating small bursts of emotional turbulence to gauge your stability. Her sudden coldness, her delayed reply, her moment of feigned disinterest, these are not rejections, they are questions. The question is not, do you like me? The question is, can you handle me? She is pushing you away with one hand to see if you will get needy, reactive, or angry. She wants to know if you are a man whose emotional center is grounded within himself, or if your sense of self is a fragile thing that depends on her constant validation. Every time she creates a small storm, she is watching to see if you are a leaf tossed in the wind or the mountain that remains unmoved. Her fear is not an abstract concept. It is a landscape carved by experience. Every woman walks around with the ghosts of past disappointments, the memories of men who were weak, who couldn't handle her emotions, or who took her vulnerability and used it against her. Her shield is not designed to keep you out specifically. It is designed to keep times that pain times from happening again. When she pulls away, she is reenacting an old drama, and she is casting you in a role. Will you be the man who gets frustrated and leaves? Will you be the man who gets desperate and chases? Or will you be the one who sees the shield for what it is, a fragile defense, and has the strength to wait for the real woman to feel safe enough to emerge? Your calm presence is the only thing that can convince her this time will be different. This is where you must learn to become the lighthouse. Her emotional world is the ocean, beautiful, deep, but prone to sudden storms. Her moods are the waves crashing against the shore. You have been acting like a small boat, tossed around by every shift in the tide, desperately trying to control the water. But you are not the boat. You are the lighthouse. Your foundation is built on the rock of your own self-worth, unshakable and solid. Your light is your calm, unwavering presence. It does not chase the ships in the storm. It does not dim when the waves get high. It simply shines a beacon of stability in the chaos. She is the ship navigating her own turbulent waters, looking for a safe harbor. Your job is not to calm her storm. It is to be the calm times in times her storm. The moment you react to her coldness, you fail the test. The moment you ask, is everything okay, or did I do something wrong? You have abandoned your post as the lighthouse and jumped into the chaotic water with her. You are communicating that her emotional state dictates your own. You are showing her that her shield is powerful enough to control you, which paradoxically makes her feel unsafe. A woman cannot surrender to a man. She can emotionally dominate. She is subconsciously looking for a container strong enough to hold all of her, the warmth and the storm. When you chase her performance of disinterest, you are rewarding the very behavior that keeps you apart. You are telling her, your fear gets my attention. The man who passes the test does the opposite. He ignores the shield and rewards the desire. Think of her desire as a shy animal. When you felt that initial spark, that electric connection, the animal came out of hiding. It felt safe. But something, a noise, a shadow, a sudden movement, spooked it. Her coldness is the animal running back into its cave. Now, what happens if you charge after it, yelling for it to come back out? You will only drive it deeper into hiding. You will become the threat. The only way to coax it out again is to sit quietly, to be still, to demonstrate through your non-reactive presence that you are not a predator. You must ignore the empty cave and simply continue to be a source of warmth and safety. You reward the warmth when it appears, and you calmly disregard the cold when it takes over. This stillness is your power. This entire dynamic is a mechanism of her own emotional self-regulation. When she feels a powerful surge of attraction for you, it can be overwhelming. It feels like a loss of control, a vulnerability she is not yet ready for. So she pulls back. She creates distance, not to push you away forever, but to slow things down to a pace where she can feel in control of her. It is an emotional braking system. Your mistake is seeing her foot on the brake and immediately slamming your own foot on the accelerator, trying to force the momentum back. This creates a whiplash effect that terrifies her. The ideal response is to simply take your foot off the gas as well, coasting with a calm smile, showing her that you are perfectly comfortable at any speed. You are not in a rush because you are not afraid of losing her. So the ultimate truth is this: her behavior has very little to do with whether she desires you, and everything to do with whether she feels safe enough to surrender to that desire. She is not looking for a man to solve her emotional chaos. She is looking for a man whose calm is stronger than her storm. She needs to feel that your masculine center is so grounded that her tests, her fears, and her withdrawals will wash against you like waves against a cliff, powerless to move you. It is in this feeling of your unshakable presence that she finds the permission to finally lower her defenses. Her coldness is a question she is asking with her behavior, and your calm is the only answer that will ever make her feel truly safe with you. The ideal reaction begins not with an action, but with a profound shift in perception. The common man sees her withdrawal and feels a problem that must be solved immediately. He feels the cold air she creates and rushes to build a fire, desperate to bring back the warmth. The centered man, however, feels that same cold air and understands it not as an absence of heat, but as the shadow cast by an intense flame. He recognizes her distance as a symptom of her inner conflict, a sign of the very desire she is trying to suppress. He knows that you cannot grasp water by clenching your fist. You can only hold it by creating a calm, open space. So, instead of reacting with frantic energy, he responds with a powerful, knowing stillness. He does not chase the shadow. He waits for the flame to reveal itself once more, understanding that his patience is the very thing that makes her feel safe. This stillness is your most potent tool. When her one-word text arrives, a digital wall of ice, your instinct screams at you to fix it. The boy in you wants to ask, "Are you okay?" The insecure man wants to prove his value with a witty reply. The centered man does neither. He reads the message, puts his phone down, and returns to his own life. He does not ignore her out of spite or strategy. He gives her silence the respect it deserves. He understands it is her space, her process, her storm. His lack of immediate, needy reaction is a statement of power. It says, "My emotional state is not dependent on yours. I am here, solid and unwavering, and you can come back to this warmth whenever you are ready." This calm detachment is not coldness. It is the ultimate form of masculine strength, a silent reassurance that you are not a man who will be rattled by her waves. This non-reaction has a devastatingly powerful effect on her. Her entire defensive strategy is built on the expectation that you will chase. Her coldness is a shield designed to provoke a predictable response, giving her a sense of control over the interaction and her own overwhelming feelings. When you simply offer a calm, unbothered silence, you refuse to play the game. You short-circuit her entire defense mechanism. The silence you create isn't empty. It's filled with the echo of the connection you both felt. In that space, she is left alone with her own desire, her own fear, and the undeniable reality of your strength. She begins to question her own behavior. Why isn't he chasing? Why isn't he panicking? Your stillness becomes a mirror, forcing her to look at her own internal chaos. And her respect for you grows in direct proportion to your ability to remain unmoved. You do not attract by chasing. You attract by becoming still enough to be seen. When you next interact with her, whether in person or by text, you must not mention her period of distance. Do not ask for an explanation or punish her with your own coldness. To do so would be to reward her defensive performance with your attention. Instead, you simply return to the man you were before the storm hit, warm, engaging, and present. You reward the real woman who shows up, the one with the warm eyes and genuine laugh. You ignore the armored guard at the gate and speak directly to the queen inside the castle. This behavior communicates something profound. I see all of you, the fear and the desire, and I am only interested in your desire. This is the essence of masculine leadership. You guide the interaction back to the place of genuine connection, demonstrating that you are the safe harbor she has been looking for. This shift transforms your entire internal experience. The reactive man is a slave to anxiety, his heart rate rising with every delayed text, his mind racing to decipher every ambiguous signal. He lives in a state of quiet desperation, constantly seeking her validation to feel whole. The centered man, however, experiences a quiet sense of knowing amusement. He sees her tests not as a personal rejection, but as an unconscious compliment, a sign that she considers him worthy of testing in the first place. He has fundamentally decoupled his sense of self-worth from her emotional state. His confidence is not a performance. It is a deep internal wellspring. He is free because he does not need anything from her. And this freedom, this complete lack of neediness, is the most attractive quality a man can possess. It is the calm center of the storm that she is irresistibly drawn to. Ultimately, this is not a set of tactics to be deployed. It is a way of being to be embodied. The ideal reaction flows naturally from a man who has built a life of purpose, a man whose identity is not contingent on any single woman's approval. Your foundation must be so solid that her emotional turbulence feels like what it is, temporary weather. You observe her storm with a kind of compassionate detachment, the way a mountain observes the passing clouds. You are the constant, the unshakable presence in her world. The goal is not to get the girl, but to become the man who is no longer thrown off balance by the dance of attraction. When you stop needing her to be anything other than what she is, you give her the space to become the woman who freely and wholeheartedly chooses you. This is the quiet power that changes everything. And so we return to where we began, but we see it with new eyes. She pulls away not because she feels nothing, but because she feels everything. This is no longer the maddening paradox that drove you to the edge of your sanity. It is now your compass. Her distance is the clearest sign of her desire, a direct measure of the emotional gravity she feels pulling her towards you. You no longer see it as a rejection of your worth, but as a testament to her fear of the very connection you both created. The entire dynamic has inverted. You are no longer the victim of her mixed signals. You are the calm observer of her beautiful human struggle between the heart's pull and the mind's terror. This shift in perception is the first and final step. It is the moment you stop asking, "What did I do wrong?" and start understanding, nothing is wrong, everything is simply happening. This understanding changes your response from action to being. You finally see that she does not want your explanation. She wants your stability. She doesn't need you to fix her storm. She needs to know you are the lighthouse that will not be moved by it. All your past instincts to chase, to question, to reassure were born of your own anxiety. You were trying to calm her storm by throwing your own chaos into the mix. But now, your power lies in your stillness. It is a presence that communicates without words, a silence that is heavier and more reassuring than any sentence you could ever construct. This is the masculine center she has been subconsciously testing for. It is not a tactic you employ, but the man you have become, a man, so grounded in his own purpose that her emotional waves break against him and recede, leaving only the calm, deep ocean behind. This is how the game ends. It does not end when you win. It ends when you stop playing. Her tests, her withdrawals, her walls of ice, they only have power because you have agreed to treat them as real obstacles. You gave them meaning by reacting. The moment you see her coldness as nothing more than a passing cloud and her desire as the ever-present sun behind it, the entire dynamic dissolves. You are no longer the chaser, so she can no longer be the one who is chased. You have withdrawn your participation from the drama, and in doing so, you have created a space of pure, unshakable reality. This is the space where she must finally confront her own feelings without the distraction of your reaction. She is left alone with your calm, your strength, and the undeniable truth of her own heart. The chase is over because you have become the destination. The ultimate transformation was never about her. It was always about you. It was about moving from a man who needs her validation to feel centered to a man whose center is the source of his own validation. You don't attract by force. You attract by embodying the very peace she is searching for. This is the final truth. The man who is no longer afraid of losing her is the only man who can truly have her. He is the safe harbor because he is not a ship tossed by her waves. He is the shore itself. Look back now at her behavior, at the push and the pull that once caused you so much confusion. See it for what it was, a question she was asking you, a question about your own strength. And your calm, unwavering presence is the only answer she will ever need. Now, comment below what you now see in her that you couldn't before.